Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and you know it's going to be a great weekend. Not just a good weekend, a great weekend. When you're looking for what puzzles are you going to feature this Saturday, Sunday, and you come across a brand new Colorado Sudoku puzzle. So a new drop from Florian Wortmann. What an absolutely exciting puzzle that we have ahead of us. Yeah, like if you remember for a while when I was running through the Colorado series, I was always trying to find new ways and kind of wordplay on the word Colorado. And it's just, once again, so good to be back on familiar territory. So you've got Sleuth here, going for a hike, enjoying the sunshine, the cool breeze on his face, a little bit of sun just shining through between the trees. It's Colorado, ladies and gentlemen. Right, enough reminiscing. Let's take a look at the puzzle and the rule sets, of course. Now, if you haven't seen this series, well, first off, you're missing out. Second, I think they deserve their own playlist. So if you stick around to the end of this video, or actually what I'll do is I'll just link it up here now, go and check out the rest of the series, particularly if you struggle with this one. There are some more approachable puzzles in this series. This is a 2-star difficulty rated puzzle. I don't know how long it would take me, but given the fact I've probably solved, well, I have solved another 10 in the series since we're looking at number 11, don't necessarily use my time today as judgment of how easy this puzzle is. Right, rules-wise. So we've got normal Sudoku rules that apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Fairly standard. You may be looking at the grid if you're familiar with this series and you're seeing only X and V's. And you might be thinking, well, how do we actually resolve it? And that's where the second rule comes in. Orthogonally adjacent cells may not contain consecutive digits. So for example, if you imagine that this cell here is a 2, I cannot put 1 or 3 in any of the orthogonally adjacent cells in here. That would break this second rule. Then we have digits joined by an X, sum to 10, digits joined by a V, sum to 5. And my favorite part of some of the Colorado series, negative constraints do apply. So all the X's and V's are given. So let's start with the X. If this is a 2, this cell here would have to be an 8 to make sure that these two cells add up to 10. Given this is a V, these two cells have to add up to 5, and that given 2 here would make this a 3. Now, all X's and V's are given. Let me see if I can illustrate this. If I put a 1 in here, you can see that this cell is not connected by any X's or V's. So I cannot put a 4 in any of these because that would require a V. I cannot put a 9 in any of these. That would require an X. And because there are no X's or V's orthogonally connecting this cell to any of the adjacent cells, 4s and 9s would not be allowed in this sort of cross pattern next to this 1. That's all the rules. Now, if you've not attempted these series before, maybe take the first few minutes of my solve as an inspiration. I do have like a particular approach that I think will make fairly short work of this puzzle. Now, if you already have an inclination, well, as always, link will be in the description down below for you to play along. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. Right. So what I typically do with these cells is with these types of puzzles, and it's not necessarily just the Colorado series, but the XV puzzles in general, is essentially I color all the V's either blue or green. And the reason I do so is I know that to make 5 in 2 cells, there's 2 ways of doing it. One of them is 1, 4. Second one is 2, 3. So wherever I have blue, which I don't know which one it is at the moment, it's either 1, 4 or 2, 3. Let's say it's 1, 4. I know there are no more 1, 4s in the rest of this column, in the rest of this box, and that there's at most another blue in the row of 2 and 3 that we'll have to find out. So let's get coloring. This would have to be a high digit, low digit as part of, this is clearly a low digit. To get to a 10, you need to have a low digit and a high digit. You've got a mixture of green and red here because we've used the 2 blue cells. So this is the other set of pairs that make up a 5. So there could be like, if this is 1, 4, this could be 2 with an 8 or 3 with a 7. What I know it isn't is 1 with a 9 or 4 with a 6. Let's keep going. Now that we have a green in here, that means these are blue. All of these are blue. 2 blue cells in box 5 means this is a green-red pair. In fact, we can do this in a few more places. This is another green-red pair because we've got 2 blues in column 4. A green in this cell means that these are also blue, and we have another blue run in here. 2 in row 8 means this is green-red. 2 blues in box 4 means this is green-red. All of these being blue in this column, I mean, I should have started there. That would be green-red. Can I do better? Yes, I can. This 2 cells of blue in column 7 means this is green-red pair. Obviously, these are going to be the same. This 2 are going to be the same digit because whatever this is, let's call it a 9. This would be a 1. This would have to be a 9 to add up to 10. So these are green-red. We already have a green in here that makes this blue. That makes this red. Did I do this correctly? No. I said the right color. I didn't correct it. And then that would make that blue again. Kind of, same thing that we just discussed here. Got 2 blues, 2 blues. I need 3 blues in column 9. They're not in box 9. They are not in box 3. And it can't be, here's where negative constraints are going to start to help, can't be this cell, otherwise it would have to be a V connecting it. Also can't be this cell because we've got 2 cells that are blue already in row 5. So let's see if I can get all the blues. Column 5, I have none, but Sudoku tells me that there are 2 in these 3 cells. They cannot be connected, otherwise it would be a V between them. So these 2 cells are separated. That makes that a red cell. Got the same thing happening here in column 2. These 2 cells are blue. I think that's all the blue digits. We should have 18 of them, 2 per box, which I think we do. Right, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. And is it too early to start doing a bit more than colors? So what I'm going to kind of quickly divert to, and this is something that I tend to do in this series, is I use letters as well as colors. So I don't know if this is 1 or 4 or 2 or 3. In a way, I almost don't care right now. What I can do, though, is essentially call this letter, this cell, A, and therefore I know that these 2 cells are not A. Now, what I deliberately tend to do is, how do I show this on the screen? Is if you look at the essentially numpad-like of letters in here, is essentially the way I sort of almost treat these. I don't know what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I do know actually what is 5. But the way I'm sort of treating it is A, B, C, and D are the low digits, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And the opposite cell is the cell that would make it add up to 10. So the A would be paired up with an I to make it a 10. The B would be paired up with an H to make it a 10. C with G and D with F. Now, it really doesn't matter what the mapping is. As long as I'm consistent in my application of the letters, I'm actually okay to just carry on doing this for now. As we get to play with the consecutive rule set, it will probably matter. And you can't entirely fully trust the mapping at that point. But for now, I can do this. That is F, that is F, that is F. That makes that a D, A, D, A, D, A. Now, one thing you're noticing me doing is using large letters. If I'm honest, that's because I can't type. That's probably the main reason. What would have been helpful is to actually use, hello. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Yeah, that's correct. Let's try that again. AD, yeah. What would have been helpful is actually just to leave them as a sort of lower case, because what I might be able to do at some point is determine that, say, that A is 1 or 4, and therefore D is 1 or 4. But right now I'm not really making the space for it, just in case I make a typo. At least it will throw up an error and tell me, hey, hang on, you've got already an A in the row and, Sleuth just like I did here. I typed a double F or whatever it was. Right, we're going to have to start thinking about greens. We haven't really thought about them that much. And we're going to have to start thinking about consecutive, and box 7 catches my eye. How would I explain this? I'm going to give it a go anyway. And if it doesn't make sense, or if I try my explanation, it seems nonsensical to me, I may end up just bringing up a spreadsheet or something onto the screen and just showing you what I actually intend here. Now, whatever A and D is, if it's 1 or 4, you can see that I cannot have 2 or 3 adjacent to them. If this is 1 and this is 4, if I put 2 or 3, it will be consecutive with one of these two. Same is true if this is a 2-3 pair, and I try and put a 1 or 4 in here, it will be consecutive with one of these pair. So this cannot possibly be green, and therefore this cannot possibly be red. I'm going to call this B, I'm going to call this H. Which also gives me that these are not B or H, they are CG, and then obviously their X partner is CG. 2 CGs in here, 2 CGs in there, that means that these are all BHs. Sorry, that sounded rude for a second, not intended. These would be CGs, we got BH in column 6, therefore this cannot be a B or H. Same is true in here, this has to be CG. You can see already just Sudoku is telling me that there is a second CG in addition to this one somewhere in these two cells. Now, if it's here, I am absolutely going to need an X. Therefore, it's going to be up there. This B here is looking at these two cells. This is another CG. Just going to color this so I don't lose track of it later. 2 CGs means that this is a BH pair. And H in here means that these are CGs, and at least all the X's and V's are pencil marked. Sorry, I'm going to lose this, I don't need it. And what we probably need to check for now, so CGs, yeah, I'm going to just do a bit of Sudoku with these. That means there's another 2 in here, and again, they cannot be orthogonally connected, otherwise it would have to be an X between them. 2, 2, 2, 2. We're missing 2 in here, and again, they cannot be connected. Otherwise, again, there will be an X, and these are the last 2. B's and H's, could we keep going? We've got 2 already in this column. Yeah, that's lovely. So we've got 2 of them in the column, and that's the maximum I can have. So there's no more B's or H's in any of these 3 cells. I need a second one, though, in box 4. And if it's this cell, I would need an X, and it can't be, it's got to be in here, where there's already a B looking at it. So that gives me H, B, and H. I need a B in this box, can't be next to the H, otherwise it will be an X. Can't be in this cell because there's a B looking at it, that's a B. We've done all the B's and H's in this kind of 3 boxes, just moving on to here. You can kind of use this. Yeah, we can. Same logic that we used here in box 1, we can use in box 5. We've got B and H in here. That means these 3 cells are not it. Can't be adjacent, otherwise it would be an X. That's another BH. And again, I'll color it. Do I need to fix it? I'll sort out colors at the end. Let's just for now, just keep going. Can't have any more in this box or in this box, frankly. We've done it in this box as well. So let's just take a look in the column. I need another B and H, one of these 2 cells, and I need another B or H in one of these 2 cells. Same logic here with an A and a D. Can't have a B or here, otherwise it will be consecutive with either A or D. So this is definitely H. One of these 2 cells is a B. Can't be this one, otherwise it will be an X. So that's green, that's red. That makes this H. That makes this B, H, B. I think we're done with B's and H's in this group of 3 as well. I need a B, you can see in row 2. Only place for it just with Sudoku is in here. Yeah, you can see B is restricted to one or two cells in box 6, just Sudoku. Now, which of these two cells could possibly be a B? Well, it's not that one. Otherwise, it's either connected to a C here or a C here, and I need a V. That's not a B. That is a B. That gives me H. That gives me B. I think that's B's done. Can I finish H's? Probably. H can't be next to this B, and H can't be this cell. So that's the H in column 8. And I need an H in column 9, and Sudoku says there is no other place for it except this cell. I think that is 9 H's. Yes. And I'll just color them all red. And I think that is 9 B's. Yes. And I'll color them all green. Right. C's and G's. Yeah, I think I can see how to do it. And I'll explain it. Really, a spreadsheet at this point will be actually helpful. Right. We've discussed that in this example, the B could not have been there because it would have been consecutive to either the 1 or 4 or 2 or 3, yada yada. Notice that the A and B are connected. Yeah, I am going to do this. This is quite unusual for me, but I think it will be far easier for me to bring up spreadsheet and start showing you some things on the screen rather than just trying to just verbally explain it. How am I going to do this easily? This is so unusual for me, but let me just check. Has it got... No, I don't think it's got any personally identifiable information there. Where is my spreadsheet window? I'm having a senior moment. Maybe it's telling me that's a bad idea. No, here it is. There you go. Right. That is good enough. It's zooming in on all the right cells. So let's talk about A's, B's, C's, and D's for a second. Now, imagine that A is a 1. And remember, in our diagram, I'm not going to resize the window, even though I know it's occupying one of the... It's not occupying the full screen, just in case when I go back to the puzzle. So we know that A and B are connected. So if A is a 1, and therefore D would be 4, we know B and C are 2, 3. And B, because it's touching the A, has to be 3, and C has to be 2. Notice the C and the A, can't select two cells independently, okay, the C and the 2 end up being consecutive. Let's keep going with the next example. If this is 2 and this is 3, again, the A being a 2 touching a B means that would be 4 and that would be 1. Again, the C and B are touching. Keep going. 3, 2, that would have to be a 1. That would have to be a 4. C and A are consecutive. Then the last example, I don't know if I need to exhaustively show you, but I'm fairly sure you believe me at this point. That is not consecutive, but this is consecutive. So a very long way of saying, given that A is touching the B, it cannot also be touching a C. So that's G, that's C, that's G, C, G, C. We've got it again here. That's G, C, C, G, G, C. Ha. Then I ran out of steam here. Hang on. Nope. C can touch D, but not A. So that has to be D, that has to be A. And therefore this has to be G, this has to be C. That G gives me C, G, no, C, G. And then that A gives me D, A, D, A. That's all Lovely. Right, let me just fix a few things. So C's are definitely green. G's are definitely red. And I should have 8 of them, sorry, 9 of them, which I do. I should have 9 of these, which I do. And I should have 9 A's, which I do. 9 D's, which I do. Right, so we can do just a little bit of Sudoku. How are we for time, by the way? We're at 16 minutes and we haven't placed a single digit. I quite like kind of the grand reveal at the end of just going, ta-da, all the digits are revealed. If you really want to, I'm sure you could actually do this a bit earlier. I can see that all of these cells are the same pencil marks. They are E or I. Yeah, pretty sure that's correct. So is this one. There's an F in these two cells. It can't be next to the D. That's F. Can't be next to the D. That's F. These two cells are not F. That's F. F is one of these two cells. We'll come back to that. One of these two cells. Not this cell, one of these two cells. Of course they don't line up. We'll come back to that. This is E and I. I'm just doing like standard Sudoku, by the way, just with letters. If you can call that standard at all. And yeah, all of these are EI. So I think it's all about the 5. This is sort of the trick. And that will probably help us determine a bunch of things. Like, let me think out loud for a second. If this is an E, for example, it's seeing both B and C, which would tell me that this is the 2-3 pair. Because if they were the 1-4 pair, and there's a 5 touching them, which is the E, then we've broken the puzzle. So what I need to look for is frankly something that forces E or I somewhere. That's what I'm hunting for. Have I been given in already? There, box 9. Regardless of which one is an E, they are seeing, I say seeing, they are orthogonally joining and touching both B and C. So B and C are definitely 2-3. And therefore, E can absolutely touch them. However, E cannot touch one of the A's or D's. We don't know which one. Whichever one never touches is the 4. Right? Have I got anything that can force an I anywhere? Are any of them touching an A? No, because it's an I. Yeah. So there should have never been an... Right, how am I going to sort of resolve this? Come on, Sleuth, you've got this. So close. I don't seem to be able to resolve these F's though. Let's think about this. How do I resolve it? Ooh, I got it. Right, box 6. If this is an I, let's think about what that means. Remember, A and D are now 1 or 4. This will be 6 or 9. G and H, which are the partners of, C and G, are 7, 8. And if this is essentially 6 or 9, it would be consecutive with one of them. So that has to be E. That's I, that's E, that's I, that's E. This is IF. We'll figure out what that means in a second. Can I keep going? Yes, I can. That gives me I, E, E. This is FI again. 2 in the row. That's E. That's I, E. By the way, at this point, you can easily abandon the E's and just use 5s. But like I said, I like the grand reveal at the end. E in here gives me I, gives me E. We're going to have to figure out these probably after I place some digits. So it's not exactly a grand reveal. But let's see if we can do a bit of coloring to tidy this up. F and I's are clearly both red. This is an I and is red. And then lastly, our E's are neutral between red and blue with gray. Right. Last thing to help us. What do I need? So E, is it ever touching A or D? I think is the question that I'm asking. And it doesn't seem to be. That's frustrating. Is it ever touching F or I? It's touching an I. So that tells me, because if E was touching F, because remember, this is a 6-9 pair. If E is touching F, then it has to be the 9. If E is touching the I, it has to be the 9. It can never be the 6. So that's our answer. This is 1. This is 4. Because that's 1. This would have to be 3. This would be 2. We're done. Right, let's place some digits. 5, 1, 4, 3, 2, 8. That's the H, which is opposite B, which was 3. No, opposite B, which would be 7. Pay attention, Sleuth, that would be 9. And F was opposite D, which was 4, that would be 6. This now helps. This is clearly not 9 next to the 8. This would be the 6. This is the 9, 6, 9, 6. And if I've not made any mistakes, 9 for the finish. Florian, you are an absolute genius. There is no doubt about it. This is just yet another phenomenal puzzle in the series. Absolutely phenomenal puzzle in the series. I don't know if there is really a lot more to add at this point, other than just say I hope you enjoyed the puzzle, like I have, and the video. And yeah, as I upload this, I'll be busy creating a playlist of the Colorado series. So if you haven't played the previous 10, you really should check it out next. Hope to see you back for the next video. Bye-bye for now.